sun is out, the birds are chirping, and the open road is calling. Bring on the spring at the Honda Spring Event and take that road trip you've been dreaming of. Now's the time to check out the Honda Civic and HR-V from Honda, the 2025 Kelley Blue Book's KBB.com Best Value Brand.
Based on 2025 Consumer Choice Awards from Kelley Blue Book, visit kbb.com for more information.
You do it all. So why not get all the electrolytes? Hydrate better than water with new Gatorade Lower Sugar. Now with no artificial flavors, sweeteners, or colors. And 75% less sugar than regular Gatorade. New to the fridge. All the Gatorade electrolytes you love. Gatorade Lower Sugar. Is it in you? Now available nationwide.
Childhood hasn't disappeared, but it doesn't look the same as it used to. For many kids, the day moves faster, expectations come earlier, and pressure builds in ways that are hard to name, let alone navigate. Over the past decade, data from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention show a steady increase in youth mental health issues, including anxiety and persistent chronic stress. What experts are now paying more attention to is when these patterns begin. For some kids, these feelings reach a boiling point while in elementary school. Jennifer Licate sees this firsthand as a school counselor and educator.
There have been some shifts in what students deal with. I feel like the main shift is the exposure to things so early as kids from having access to social media. So there's so much education and so much information at their fingertips that they can access. And I feel like that's made kids grow up quicker than they've had to in other generations.
In today's world where adolescents use smartphones, iPads, laptops, and other devices, it can all feel heavy. There's more comparison, communication, and it's often hard to disconnect.
They never get a reprieve from some of those social pressures. Even when they're at home, they're looking at people's stories or they're seeing on Snapchat what people are doing and seeing that there's events they haven't been invited to, or people are reaching out to them that years ago wouldn't have just picked up the phone and called the household phone, but now feel comfortable to text them privately. So I just feel like there's a lot of pressures.
What used to be a clear break between school and home isn't there anymore. Social pressures, peer interactions, and school-related stress can follow kids and teens from the minute they wake up to when they get into bed at night. This can make it harder to reset and refresh after a busy or stressful day. On top of this, the pressure to perform has grown as well. Academic material that was once introduced later is now showing up earlier, and for some students, this changes how they feel about school early on.
I see it even with my own children. There's pressure where parents hear about academic achievements of other children the same age, and then they sometimes put that pressure on their children. And then some of the coursework where years ago was kept to high school level, now that coursework is being pushed down to the lower levels. So kids are expected to perform at high levels at a young age. So I feel like that is an expectation that causes anxiety for them also.
And on top of this, the effects of the COVID pandemic. This weird period where society shut down and routine stopped may feel like forever ago, but for kids it was a long stretch of time filled with uncertainty and several changes.
Families dealt with it differently, but I think everyone had a certain sense of fear when we were going through the pandemic, because as adults, we didn't know what we were really dealing with. And as kids, they felt that. So I think that there's been a lot of pressures on them that years ago weren't on kids before.
When you combine all of these factors, anxiety can snowball into an unsustainable feeling. Licate says she often sees a shift in many kids during elementary school years, especially during 3rd or 4th grade when most kids own a smartphone.
I feel like I see it really ramp up around 3rd and 4th grade. There are some kids that feel the pressure in 1st and 2nd grade, but that's a lot of the pressure with their peers and getting along with others and just the pressure to fit in. But I feel like I see in third and fourth grade students showing more of the signs of anxiety. And I think that relates to as they're getting phones because kids are getting them earlier and earlier. I feel like it's not uncommon to hear of a 9-year-old having a phone. So I think that coincides and they're showing symptoms of anxiety at younger ages.
One of the reasons anxiety in particular can be difficult to catch early on is that in kids it can present differently. It often shows up in ways that seem physical or even routine.
The worrying thoughts, of course, but also some physical symptoms, which they really aren't sure that there are signs of anxiety. I feel like they'll get stomach aches or they'll have trouble sleeping at night and they won't know why they're feeling that way. There's also sometimes they get irritable because there's so much on their mind that they're having trouble relaxing themselves enough to deal with situations one at a time. Stomach aches, headaches, there's sometimes digestive troubles. So all of those symptoms that adults experience, kids also experience, but I think it's hard to pinpoint it when it first comes up. They'll say like, I feel sick to my stomach, but they won't know to say, I feel irritable, or I feel like I can't settle myself down. I feel like my heart is racing. So that's why it's important to talk to kids on their level because they know that there's things happening in their body and some uncomfortable feelings in their body. But I don't think at young ages they know how to articulate it well.
Part of the challenge is language. Younger kids can feel like something's off, but don't always have the words to explain it. The American Academy of Pediatrics has noted a similar pattern. Anxiety in children often showcases as physical discomfort before it's recognized as emotional distress. And while some level of anxiety is normal for adolescents, what's not normal is abrupt changes in behavior.
If there's something that they've always loved to do, like maybe they've always loved to play soccer, and now they're apprehensive about playing soccer, they don't want to do it anymore, that's a good opportunity to talk to your child and say, what's going on? You know, you always used to love soccer. What's changed? And just give your child that opportunity to share what's going on. It may not be anxiety, but it may be that the pressure has gotten to be too much. Sometimes there's been an activity or something they've liked to do, and they've liked to do it as a hobby. And then the intensity has increased as the competitiveness has increased, or, you know, kids have gotten older and maybe now it's not something they enjoy anymore. And that's okay for children to shift and focus on some other things that they do enjoy if it's gotten to be too much pressure and maybe that doesn't feel good to them.
These expectations can also build in quieter ways. Parents want their kids to succeed, but when comparison enters the picture, even indirectly, it can create self-doubt and feelings of, will I ever be enough? Over time, this pressure can turn into perfectionism, and mistakes feel like huge failures.
It's important to show that you make mistakes and everyone makes mistakes and you have to be okay with it. Even though we would all love to do everything perfectly, it's important to show your child that's impossible and that's just too high of an expectation to place on yourself. And if you do that, you're never going to be able to celebrate your wins. So that's another piece of advice I would give to parents is to celebrate the wins with their child. You know, that they got a good grade on a test that they've been studying for. Celebrate that with them and congratulate them on the effort that they put into it. Even if they didn't get a high A, they really did really well and worked really hard, and they should take some time to feel proud of themselves for that achievement.
Kids and teens pick up on how adults deal with stressful situations. They also recognize how you cope with anxiety. Where do you turn when you're feeling stressed or anxious? Positive outlets can be exercise, journaling, speaking with a therapist. Doing one or a combination of these things can help them mirror this behavior.
If they're at school, they can excuse themselves from the classroom and go for a walk to use the restroom or get a drink of water. Journaling is a really great and healthy way to deal with anxiety. Using music, using a creative outlet, either creating art, reading a book, deep breathing exercises, and progressive muscle relaxation. Those are the ones I really often tell students to try as their first steps.
These exercises and activities can break anxious thought patterns and help the body reset. They don't remove stress, but can help kids manage the waves of different feelings. For many, these coping skills can be enough. However, they could need more help too. Licate says there's a point where anxiety starts to limit a child, where it keeps them from participating, trying new things, or pursuing something they care about.
I would look for, as a parent, a change in behavior. If they're retreating from things that they once liked to do, and if they feel like their anxiety is holding them back, if they don't want to go after goals that they have for themselves or activities that they're interested in because they're afraid of failing, that's the time that I would step in as a parent and say, okay, it's time that we bring in a mental health professional to deal with this a little bit better. But of course, as a parent, I think the first step is to talk to your child about it and also to teach them some coping skills. And if the coping skills haven't been successful, then I think it's time to look into meeting with a therapist.
At this stage, additional support can make a real difference. Whether that's a school counselor, therapist, or another professional, early intervention can help kids develop skills that stay with them long term. Anxiety is a part of life, but what's changed is how early it can start and the normalcy that it's a chronic feeling. For parents, the goal is not to remove every source of stress, but to help kids understand what they're feeling and make sure they have the tools and support to work through it. Because when they can do that, anxiety doesn't disappear, but it does become something they can navigate. To find more resources and learn more about our guest, head to her website at storiesbyjennifer.com. You can also visit viewpointsradio.org to find more links and an archive of all of our past shows. The story was written and produced by our executive producer, Amirah Zaveri. Our studio manager is Jay Silvers. I'm Gary Price.
Ovation Hall at Ocean Casino Resort in Atlantic City is the ultimate stage for world-class entertainment. An intimate venue with the best energy, state-of-the-art sound, and views that never miss. From top performers to A-list comedians and legendary acts, these are the shows you don't want to miss. Let the music take over. Go for the laughs that keep you coming back. Go for the nights you'll never forget. Visit theoceanac.com to view the complete entertainment lineup at Ocean Casino Resort in Atlantic City. Go to Ocean. Go for the win.
Ever walk past a place for rent and wish you could just take a peek inside? Maybe even explore the layout. Envision the natural light streaming through the windows. Or plan where your vinyl record collection would go. At Apartments.com, you can. With tools like their 3D virtual tours, you can see the exact unit you could be living in. Really envision yourself in your new home with Apartments.com, the place to find a place.
At Strayer University, we help students like you go from will I to why not. For over 130 years, we've been innovating higher education to make it more affordable, accessible, and attainable so you can reach your goals. Go from thinking, can I, to yes, I can, and keep striving. Visit strayer.edu to learn more. Strayer University is certified to operate in Virginia by Chev and has many campuses, including at 2121 15th Street North in Arlington, Virginia.